Right. Good morning, everyone. All the online students. Is the screen is visible? All the online students. Could you please everyone respond in the chat window? I request all the online students need to be respond in the chat window. Okay. Perfect, guys. Let's get continue then. So the one we have been discussing about this particular perspective of API testing here. So as part of this particular API testing, we are confirming that that particular request and response has been working correctly or not, which we will be taking with this particular API testing. So as part of this particular API testing, we are confirming that that particular request and response has been working or not. Okay. Since that while working this particular one, mainly we have to continue in understanding these particular methods. One it will be taking with the get request, one it will be taking with the post request, which it will be taking with put request, and then it will be taking with delete request. So get request that it will be considering that it will be taking with read only. Get request it will be taking with read only. This is you will be sending with the request and which you will be taking with that particular response. You will be taking with and sending with the request and which you will be taking with the response. Post request you will be mentioning that to create. Okay. To create new request for server. Post request it will be taking with to create new request for server. Then it will be taking with put request, which it will be taking with the put request. Thus it will be mentioning that to update to update request for server, which it will be taking with to update request for server. Okay. And finally, it will be taking with the delete to delete request for server, which it will be taking with to delete request for server. So this is what the regular four API methods we have to get comfortable. Previously, we have been done with this particular get request. If I'm just taking with this particular get request, so while working that particular get request, we are working with first everything this particular programming. So just we are taking the help of built-in reference of request related to the functional. You will be taking with the page and related to this particular API you will be taking with the request here. That you will be mentioning that you will be taking with the steps of you will be having get request here. And then we are taking the help of API key for the confirmation. You will be taking with the help of status code, and then you will be taking with that particular respective of text. In a similar way, we have to be get understand that in working this particular post request that I will be mentioning that I will be taking with TC request. I will be taking with the post dot spec dot ts, which I will be taking with that particular post dot spec dot ts. Okay. Now we can see that how we can write this particular program. First, I will be taking with the import. I will be taking with that particular perspective of test. From I will be taking with the playwright. That I will be taking with this particular aspect of post request. So the functionality of the post request is to insert with the data to the server. The functionality of the post request is to test the logic of inserting with the data to the server. As part of API testing, as part of this particular API testing, which it will be taking with that particular respective functionality. As part of that particular API testing, it will be taking with that particular perspective of logic need to be tested. As we discussed in the yesterday session, according to the software architecture, we got one tier architecture, two tier architecture, which it will be taking with three tier architecture. So one tier architecture, it will be mentioning that all the things in one system. Two tier we mentioned that client and server. Three tier it will be taking with that particular browser and then server and database. The technical terminology, application layer and then business layer or logic layer, and it will be taking with database layer. Okay. To test application layer, it will be taking with that particular one of functionality testing. To test business layer or logic layer, it will be taking with API testing. To test database layer, it will be taking with the help of database testing. So previously we done with the functional testing. Now it will be taking with API testing. So now we have to understand that either we are able to test that particular business logic, in that it will be taking with the post request. Further to insert with the data. What is the data you want to be get insert? It will be taking with, it will be maintaining that particular data, which it will be taking with in mentioning that it will be taking with the name, and then it will be taking with which it will be mentioning that particular data. Okay, done. After that, it will be taking with whenever you are working this particular aspect of API, you required two things here. One is you required API URL. One is you required that particular API URL, which it will be taking with the help of that particular respective of API URL. Let's see here. That API URL it will be getting from that particular respective of that particular API URL, it will be getting from that particular perspective of, it will be taking with this particular one of SRS document, or it will be taking with the development team, or it will be taking with the client team. Now, as we are working this particular post request, we got that particular URL. Now, while working these particular post requests, it will be taking with the status code that it will be mentioning that 201. We have to get that particular status code. It will be taking with 201. Along with that, we have to get in a message of ID should be created. Along with the ID, it's need to be get take with the message of created at. Okay, let's see that. So now, as we done with the same thing, it will be taking with the constant, it will be taking with the response. Okay, so here we need to be get provide that particular URL, which it will be taking with that particular URL. Okay. So as part of that headers, first will be taking with that particular API key. So API key, it will be taking with that particular permission, which it will be taking with that particular API key. It will be taking with that particular respective permission. Okay. Then it will be providing this particular data. Now see the concept here. We are working with the post request. With the help of the post request, we are inserting this particular data to server. But we required confirmation. We required a confirmation is that really it has been inserting with the data or not. To confirm that, it will be taking with status code. So we need to retrieve that particular status code. To get with the status code, it will be taking with the method name is status. Then it will be taking with the retrieving the text, that it will be taking with the text. By that, I will be having the confirmation of that particular logic has been working correctly. Now let's see that how exactly you will be getting that particular respective of status code. Execution, it will be taking with same concept only. If I'm just taking with that particular execution, it will be taking with that particular perspective of same concept. Let's see here. Right. So as part of execution, as usual, it will be taking with the right click, which it will be taking with open in integrated terminal. It will be utilizing that particular same command. So which it will be taking with that particular command, mentioning the npx, and then it will be taking with the playwright test tc underscore. It will be taking with the request underscore. It will be taking with the post dot spec dot ts. Here there is no concept of that particular headed option. There is no concept of that particular respective of headed option. This it will be taking with these particular steps here. So this is what it will be mentioning that it will be taking with these particular steps here. Right. So now I can see here. If I just go with this particular one, see here. Send this way, it will be taking with these steps here. Right. Now if I just done with enter, see the status code. We have to get that particular status code as 201 along with 201. See here. Status code we got an a 201. Along with that, ID is generated. Then you are able to see the message created at that particular date and time. This is how you will be confirming that inserting with the data to the server, that particular logic has been working correctly. So previously we got a get request, and this it will be taking with post request here. In a similar way, it will be taking with put request. Put request also same thing. Put request also it will be taking with same thing only, which it will be taking with the TC, that it will be mentioning that it will be having with the steps of, it will be taking with the request, that it will be taking with put, which I will be taking with the put dot spec dot ts. So put request, everything will be the same. While working with the put request, all that particular code will be the same. So while working this particular post request, whatever we are doing, the same thing we are performing for put request also. The only difference it will be taking with method name and URL. This it will be taking with put, which will be taking with put request. Everything will be the same, which it will be taking with put request. Then it will be providing that particular respective URL related to that particular put request. Whatever URL is required, you need to be get provide that particular URL. Okay. Now see the whole program as usual. First we imported test module only. Then you created test method. It will be providing with the description. Then it will be taking with API request. Whenever we mention that request, it will be taking with the help of API request context. So which it will be taking with that particular respective of API context here. Okay. Now we are mentioning that the data to update. Post request is inserting the data. Now this particular put request is update the data. What I want to update the data in a place of trainer, I want to update with the data is software trainer. So previously, with the help of the post request, you are testing the logic of inserting with the data to the server. With the help of the put method, you are testing with the logic of updating the data to the server. So that is what we mentioned that particular data. This is, you will be taking with JSON format. The format what we define the data is JSON format. So in the JSON format, we assign the data to this variable. By that, for the request, I can pass this particular data. Now, I will be taking with the variable name response. Await, we are using with the method name is put method, providing that URL. Now, what is the functionality of put method? Updating the data to this particular server. To this particular server, it's need to be get update this particular data. So you have to communicate to the server. So how you will be communicating to the server? By taking with the permission. So that particular permission you have been considering as a header. So you have to communicate to that particular API server. To communicate that particular server, you are taking that particular API key. Now while communicating, what it has to provide? It's need to pass the data. So by that, this put request will understand that it has to update with the data. Once data is updated, we require a confirmation. For the confirmation, it will be taking with the help of status code. So for the confirmation, it will be taking with the help of that particular status code. And then it will be taking with that particular retrieving text also, which it will be taking with that particular retrieving text also. So this is what it will be taking with, it will be having this particular one. See here, first we define the data. This is, you can understand like a test data. We assigned it to the variable. Now this data we are passing to this particular put request. For that, the same variable we are calling here. So by that, it will understand that it will be able to get these particular data. See here, we got that particular name, we got that particular job. So for that, it will be taking what is the name and job we provided. This data will be inserting to that particular respective server. Now let's see here. So how exactly it will be taking with these particular steps here. Okay. Now let's see here. So previously, when I'm working with that particular post request, we got a status code is 201. We got a message is created at. Now it will be taking with the message updated at. Let's see here. It will be taking with NPX, which it will be taking with this particular respective of put request. Previously, we done with that particular get request. Now it will be taking with put request. Let's see that how it will be getting. Status code should be 200. See the result. So we got a status code 200. What is the message we got it? Updated at. So whenever you are working with the post request, it will be getting created at. While working with the put request, it will be taking with updated at. By that, we can confirm that the data has been updated to that particular server. That logic has been working correctly. So this is how you are taking with API testing, because there is no concept of UI. While working API testing, there is no concept of that particular UI, which it will be taking with the help of this particular respective of request and then taking with that particular response here. This is how you will be taking with these particular methods. We got get request, we got post request, we got put request. In the same way, you will be taking with delete request. So delete request also very straight away. Just you can go with the right click. You will be taking with the new file. Mention that TC request you will be taking with delete dot spec dot ts. Delete request very straight away. Let's see that you will be taking with import, which you will be taking import. That you will be taking with test model. Then you will be taking from playwright. Then you will be mentioning that you will be taking with that particular respective of delete request. Okay, see that. So while working these particular delete requests, we got an status code 204 and that particular result should be empty. So we have to get status code is 204 and that particular result should be empty. Let's see the URL. Now, first, it will be taking with that particular constant response. It will be taking with await. It will be taking with the delete. We need to be get provide that particular URL. Okay. And after that, it will be taking with this particular respective step. It will be taking with the header. Header, it will be taking with API key, which it will be able to go with that particular API key. So now we are sending delete request to the server by taking with the help of this particular API key. By taking with the help of this API key, we are sending delete request. We require a confirmation. For the confirmation, it will be taking with the status code, and then it will be taking with the text which is related to that particular response body. So for now, there is no content, right? Once delete has been done, it's not able to have any content. Let's see here, which it will be taking with this particular respective of delete. Okay. So delete dot it will be taking with spec dot ts, which it will be taking with delete dot it will be taking with that particular spec dot ts. Now let's see here. So how exactly it will be working it? What exactly the result we need to be get? So we need to be get understand that what exactly that particular result it's need to be get. Okay, so let's see that. Let's look into that. It will be taking with these steps, right? So this time there is no data. It will not be having any data, but it will be having with the status code. It will be taking with 204. So whenever you are working with the delete request, we are expecting the status code 204. Then it will be confirming that the logic has been working correctly for taking with that particular delete request here. So this is what it will be taking with. It will be working these four very regular requests. One, it will be taking with get request, and then taking with that particular post request, and which it will be taking with that particular respective of delete request here, which you will be taking with that particular delete. So this is what you will be taking with very regularly. You will be working with these particular four concepts here. So most of the time while working these particular four concepts, you will be taking with these particular API concepts here. Now, just for interview purpose, you need to begin to understand some more concept related to that particular API. In that, we can understand two more concepts here. So one is you can mention that chaining. Right with the new heading, mention that chaining. All the online students also, please write with the heading shining and write the description. One request result or will be taking output will be working as input, working as input for other request. Just make a note of this particular description. Right. So let's understand what exactly this particular chaining concept. See that. See the understanding. It has been clearly mentioned that one request, result or output will be working as a input for other request here. So what exactly the meaning of this particular statement? For example, you're working with post request. When you work with that particular post request, you have to get a result. What will be the result? ID should be created. So whenever you are working with that particular post request, you will be getting with the result is you will be taking with that particular ID will be created. So this is what you will be taking with the result. Now, this particular result, whatever the ID created, that particular ID will be working as a input. Now, this particular ID, okay, ID created by post request. ID created by post request is input is input for delete request is input for delete request. So that is what I will be taking with this particular chaining concept here. See the name. The name itself, it has been clearly mentioned that chaining. Chaining means connectivity. So you are trying to connect two different programs here. Like in simple, still if you want to be get understand that it will be taking with variable. So you can consider that you have been taking with variable. You got one ID. This particular ID, what you will be doing, you will be assigning to one particular variable. So now, whatever the variable is there, that variable you will be passing to delete request. So indirectly, we are combining two requests here. Post request, delete request. In a similar way, if we got more comfortable with this, how we got connected these two programs, in a similar way, we can get connected with this particular whole four requests here. As an example, first we will be taking with one request ID. That particular ID will be taking with getting with the request and response with that particular ID inserting with the data. That particular data will update and then taking with the delete. So that will make more confusion to understand what exactly the concept we are taking with the help of post request and delete request. So don't be confused at all here. The concept is very simple. First, you are working with post request. While working that particular post request, whatever the result you got it, that result is working as a input for delete request. Let's see that how you will be writing that particular program. Further, first I'm taking with the program of post request. As it is, I'm taking with the help of post request. It will be taking with new file, mention that TC. It will be taking with chaining dot spec dot TS. Okay, done. Now, first I'm providing all the code as it is. relate it to the post request, whatever the code is there as it is have been provided, which I will be taking with Shining. So what we have been done here? First, we imported test model. We've created the test method, provided the description, taking with the request. So as we are working with the post request, whatever the data we have to insert, this data we assigned to the variable of data. Then you will be taking with the post request. I need to pass the data, calling that a variable. Then we required a permission that you will be taking API key. By that, it will insert the data, it will get in a status code, and it will retrieve the text. It will print the message of created at. Let's see here. I have not done any new thing here. Previously, whatever the post request have been done, I just taken with the same program. First, I will be executing this particular program. So, which I will be taking with NPX. It will be taking with the playwright test. It will be taking TC underscore which chaining dot spec dot TS. Enter. See the result here. Ah. Now, all the online students, please be more active, guys. Please be more active. We got a result. The result is 201. Along with that, in the result, you are able to see the ID number 266. All the online students, is that everyone able to see here? Yes, sir, no, guys. Right. Now, see the requirement. This is the result. We got a result with the help of the post request. Now, whatever this ID is there, I need to retrieve this ID and I have to assign to one particular variable. In the result, nothing but this is a response. This response we got in a JSON format. This open bracket, close bracket, this whole thing is a JSON format. So the result is available in the JSON format. So in that particular result, I need to retrieve ID and I need to assign to that particular variable. Let's see how I can do that. See here. Now, what I'm doing is extract user ID from response body. Whatever the response I got it, from that particular response, I will be taking with that particular user ID. See here, which I will be taking with, I will be mentioning that which I will be taking with the help of this particular one. Okay, that I will be taking with the constant, I will be taking with response JSON, which I will be taking with response JSON. Await, I will be using with the method name of JSON. Don't be confused at all. Previously, what is the method name we are using? Text. Now, what is the method name I'm using? JSON. Because the result is in the JSON format. So, in this JSON format, I want to retrieve the ID. So, that is what I'm taking it. First, I'm getting with the response. Whatever this whole result is there, this whole result I got assigned to one variable. In that particular result, what I'm retrieving? ID. So I'm just retrieving with the ID, assigning to that particular variable, and I will be printing that particular variable. Now we can see here. So for now, what we have been done, we got an ID. Let's see here. Let me execute the program once again. Right. First, we are taking with the post request. 201. We got an ID. What is ID generated? 56. This ID we are retrieving and assigning to the variable, printing that variable. So ID number is 56. Okay, see here. See the user ID got the same ID. So in the JSON response, whatever the ID is there, we are able to retrieve that particular ID and assign it to one variable. We are printing that particular variable is 56. Now, the same ID, I need to delete it. Now, request is created. With the help of the post request, request is created. Now, I want to get go with in deleting that particular request. Let's see that. So, the same program we are doing it. So, the same program it will be taking it, which it will be mentioning that it will be having with delete that particular user using extracted user ID. So which it will be taking with that particular delete using extracted user ID. So further it will be taking with constant delete response. Then it will be taking with the request dot delete. See the URL. In the URL, this is an URL. For the URL, I'm passing that particular variable. So in the URL, I'm passing with the variable of user ID. So by that, whatever the user ID we got, the same user ID, it's need to be able to get enter. So whatever the user ID it is generated, the same user ID we are passing to that particular delete request. Okay. Then it will be taking with as usual, it will be taking with that particular header, it will be taking with that particular API key. So it's need to be get execute these particular delete requests. But we require confirmation. We required confirmation is that delete request has been executed or not. Then as usual, it will be taking with dot status. It will be taking with that particular text. Let's see that. So as because of it is deleted, it's not be able to print any of the data. Let's see that how it is working. This is what it will be taking with shining concept. There is no confusion at all. With the help of the post request, whatever the user ID we generated, that user ID we given as an input for that particular delete request. See the whole program here. First we got import test model created with the test method, providing with the data to insert and then taking with the help of post request, and then it will be taking with a header passing the data. By that, this data will insert into the server and then taking that particular method, status method, it will be taking with that particular text method. Now, from that particular result, I want to retrieve user ID. That ID. Further, I'm taking with that particular format as a JSON format and getting with the ID assigned to the variable. Once assigned to the variable, I'm calling that variable. I'm passing that variable to the URL. So whenever you're working with the API testing, URL will be playing very most important role, which will be provided that particular URL. I mean that particular user ID. Then you will be taking with the permission, taking with the status code, you will be taking with response text. Okay. Now we can see here, I'll be just taking with this program. First it will go with in creating that particular respective of post method. It will generate that particular ID. Once it got generated that particular ID, which it will be taking with this particular one here. Okay, right. Let's see that how it will be utilizing it here. Okay. So this is a predefined, guys. This response is a predefined. Okay. Right. Now, let's see the execution. So this time, first it will go with the post request, then it will be taking with delete request. Now we can see here. First, we will be taking 201. What is the ID? 711. Same ID we got it. Then it has been deleted. Just it was printing only status code related to that particular delete. All the data has been deleted. So that is how it will be working with this particular perspective of chaining concept. That means just connectivity. You're taking with the connectivity of one program to another program that you will be taking with connectivity here. So this is how you will be utilizing this particular aspect of shining concept. Whenever you are working within the real time, is it mandatory of need to go with these many things? It depends on that requirement. Most of the time, they will be maintained different teams only, but at least as part of interview, definitely you can expect with the questions here. So this is what it will be taking with these particular steps here. So the whole execution while working with the API, you are conforming with the help of the status code only because there is no UI. While working API, there is no UI based on the status code and based on the data it was giving the result, you are conforming that particular request and response has been working correctly or not. This is what we got in a concept of you will be taking with this particular perspective of you will be using this request and then you will be taking with this particular chaining concept here. Okay. In the same way, you will be taking with another concept. In the same way, you will be taking with that particular another concept. See here. This is what you will be taking with concurrent users. This is what I will be taking with concurrent users. What exactly the meaning of concurrent users is? Sending same request, sending same request with at same time with multiple users, multiple users. See the concept, guys, which you will be taking with concurrent users. The meaning of this particular statement is you are sending one request to the server. When you're sending with the request to the server, the request has been sending same time with multiple users. The best example, let's consider your online shopping. Sometimes they will announce the sale, like sale offer will be there that Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra. So all these people sometimes they will be announcing that particular sale. Otherwise, still to understand more better way, the best example it will be taking with railway Tatkal ticket. If it take with the railway Tatkal ticket, every day in the morning that 8 a.m. Same time, multiple n number of users will be ready to open that website. Because of that particular call, same time multiple users will be connecting to that server. That means multiple requests same time it has been sending to that server. At that particular time, how server will be behaving? Is that it has been able to handle all the users, or it has been able to handle only some users? That is what need to be get tested here. Indirectly, you are doing performance testing. Indirectly, you are trying to do performance testing here. The meaning is same time you are sending multiple users and you are checking that it has been working or not. Okay. Now, what we are doing is, as an example, it will be taking with the 20 users. 20 users, same request will be the same. So that we are working with that particular get request, which will be taking that particular get request. Now, our requirement is these 20 users, same time they have to send it, not like one by one. It's not like first one user send it, after that another user, after that another user, not like one by one. It's need to go with the same time. Now, our requirement is 20 requests need to process at the same time. So, multiple users, it's need to be get request at the same time. As simple, your requirement is multiple step you want to execute at the same time. Then playwright, what is the concept we can try? In playwright, we have a concept to execute multiple steps together. Same time, it will be executing multiple steps. What is that particular concept? Online students. What is that concept we can try? Exactly, guys. Which will be taking with promise.all. As we are already discussed about promise.all. So when you are working this particular promise.all, inside of that particular promise all, you will be providing that particular 20 requests. But these are 20 requests, right? Because of that, you will be assigning to that particular array, which you will be taking assigning to that particular array. After that, you're sending with the 20 requests at the same time. Perfectly okay. You're sending with the 20 requests. You're taking with the help of promise.all, and then you will be taking with the array. You will be sending with the 20 requests. Perfectly okay. But you require a confirmation of every request. For every request, you need to be get status code, and for every request, you need to be get that particular data. For that, it will be taking with that particular for loop. So inside of that particular for loop, it will be printing that particular status method, and which it will be taking with text method. So in that particular for loop, it will be taking with the status method, and which it will be taking with that particular text method. So by that, it will be taking with the help of, which it will be taking with, you return the for loop. Inside of the for loop, you are getting status code for every request, because we need to confirm all the requests are successful or any request we got an error. For every request, I will be taking the status code, and for every request, will be printing that particular text. That is what we will be taking with loop concept. Now see the whole logic, how we are doing is we are taking with the help of promise dot all. Inside of the promise dot all, we are taking with the array. Why we are taking with the array? It's a multiple request. Group of requests need to perform same time here. That is the reason we are taking with the array. Then you are sending with the request. You will get a response. That response, you don't want to print with the response of any one particular request. You don't want to print with the response of any one particular request. For that particular purpose, you will be taking with the help of that particular status code. Okay, so let's see that how exactly we can write this particular program. Let's look into that. So which I will be taking with the new file, mention that TC, you will be taking with the request, you will be taking with concurrent dot spec dot ts. Okay. Writing with the program will be the same. First, we will be taking with that particular test model. And then you will be taking with the playwright. So now you will be taking that particular test, which you will be taking with that particular test method. Okay. First, we will be taking with that particular one, concurrent request. So that particular one, I will be mentioning concurrent 20 request. As an example, I'm taking with the 20. It can go with 50, it can go with 100, it can go with that particular request. Let's see here. First, I will be taking with one variable constant. You will be taking with total request is 20. First, I will be taking with that particular total request is 20. Okay, done. Now, see here. So, which I will be taking with this particular one. So, I got a number is 20. Now, I require these particular 20 request. See that. First, I will be taking with constant and then I will be taking with the response. Response dot, you will be taking with that particular respective of promise dot all. See here. Just wait it. Okay. First, I have been taken one variable. For that variable, what is the count I given? 20. Now I'm using promise all because it's need to send with the 20 request at the same time. So inside of the promise dot all for array, I have been taken the array. For array, I'm passing length of total request. I'm passing with the length of total request. By that, it will understand that it will be taking that particular 20. Now, what is that request? I need to send it. What is that particular request? I need to send it. I will be taking with request dot. I will be taking with get method. Request dot. I will be taking with the get method. As usual, whenever you are communicating to that API server, you require a permission that you will be taking with header, which you will be taking with that particular header. Okay. Then we provided that particular respective of API key. See here. So for now, what we have been done, if I just go with this particular one, it will be taking with the total request. I got assigned to one variable. Then I'm using promise dot all. Inside of that particular promise dot all, we are taking with the get request. Request is same. Same request sending to the server with the help of total length of 20 requests. 20 requests, same time it will execute. Same time has been executed. Same time has been executed. Then we required confirmation. So that particular confirmation, you will be taking with that particular respective of the loop, which you will be taking with that particular respective of loop concept. Let's see here how you will be taking with that particular loop concept. You will be taking with that particular for loop. So that I will be mentioning that you will be taking with let I equal to 1. Then I will be taking with I less than total request. Then you will be taking with that particular respective of for loop. Okay. Then it will be taking with that particular respective of for loop, which it will be taking with this particular respective of for loop. Let's see here how exactly it will be taking with this particular one. Okay. So which it will be taking with this particular step, which it will be taking with this particular one. You need to be get go with this particular respective of for loop. Okay. So let's look into that how exactly it will be taking with this particular respective of for loop. So inside of that particular loop, so right. So inside of that particular loop, I want to be just print each and every respective of status code. Let's see that it will be writing. First, I will be taking with which it will be printing that constant. It will be taking with status code. Okay, status code, which it will be taking with that particular one. So we'll be taking with this particular status code. I'll take from 0 because index responses of I dot status code. And after that, I will be taking with body. So which I will be taking with responses of I dot text. First value 0. First request. Retrieving the status code, printing it. Then related to that status code, you will be taking with that particular text here. Okay. Done. So now we see the whole program, which I will be taking with. See the whole program. First, we imported test model. We created the test method. We are using request concept. First, I have been taken one variable. Variable name I mentioned as a total request is 20. Then I'm using promise.all. So for the promise.all, I'm passing one array. In the array, what you are having from this array, it will be taking with the length of the total request. What is that particular length? 20. So that particular 20 request, same time they will be sending to the server. Now, to communicate to the server, you required a permission that you will be taking with the header. We required a confirmation. For the confirmation, you will be taking with the loop. So we are taking with the for loop. I have been taken the index, which we are using with the index. So always index will start from 0. Now you will be taking with that particular status code and then you will be taking with the text here. Now let's see that all the 20 requests able to work or not. Now I will be taking with this particular one, which we will be having this particular TC underscore request underscore concurrent dot spec dot ts. Now we can see here all the 20 requests it has to send same time here, and it has to print all the result. All the result printing together, not like one by one. It is not printing with the result one by one. It is printing together. See here. First status code 200. Request ID is 1. Again, status code 200. ID is 1 only because same request. Request is same. So request is same but done by 20 users. Request is same done by these particular 20 users here. Okay. For example, I'll change it to 2. So for easy understanding, I'll be taking with the 10. Now we can see here. I'll just clear this. So for 10 requests, it's need to be sent it. Done. Which I will be taking with that particular 10. Which I will be taking with the ID will be the 2. So now we can test that. As an example, I have been taken 10 and 20. But when you work with the real time, you want to test that particular server, you will be testing with hundreds of users, which you will be testing with that particular hundreds of users, or you will be testing with thousands of users, you will be tested here. So this is what you will be taking with the concept of, you will be taking with this particular perspective of concurrent users. This is indirectly you have been doing performance testing also, but performance testing is totally different. Again, don't explain this is the performance testing for interview. This everything we are working this particular perspective of API testing. That API testing also we are working this particular API automation here. So this is how it will be continued this particular API testing. Still, if required, the more advanced level, what you guys can try for the next session. All the online students, tomorrow there is no session, only for tomorrow. Tomorrow there is no session, next session on Thursday. For Thursday, what you guys can try is the 4 requests. Get request, this post request, put request and delete request. You can try to convert these 4 programs into hybrid framework. Like when you're working with the functional testing, we discussed about hybrid framework, taking with the global and then general. In the similar way, while working this particular API also, if required, we can take that particular framework here. First, you guys can try it. Same standards, just like in general, all the API related test data. In global API related test data. In global API related methods. Then under test, you will be taking with that particular actual test folder, your actual automation test cases. Just try it and I will be explaining on Thursday session. Once we done that particular framework, then we'll be stopping with the API testing and then we'll be taking with that particular database testing here. Okay, so that we will be taking with that particular database testing. After that, we'll be taking with our AI concepts here. But before getting started that particular AI concepts, just take care about all these particular practice here. And apart from that, as I used to be get mentioning that, it will be having extra TypeScript session will be there. So the TypeScript session, we are starting another new batch, which is starting from tomorrow. The timings will be 9 p.m. So the extra TypeScript session, another new batch getting started from tomorrow. That it will be taking with the timings will be 9 p.m. here. So the people who are comfortable to attend, just they can utilize that session. For the meeting ID, just they can WhatsApp to the management number. Not required to make any calls. Just they can WhatsApp to that particular management number. You will be getting that particular meeting ID. So you can utilize these particular this TypeScript sessions also. Anyway, that it has been conducted free only. Just you can utilize that particular sessions also, which is getting started from tomorrow. So tomorrow TypeScript session is there, but my session will not be there. My session I'll be taking on Thursday. So in the meanwhile, just try with that particular perspective of the framework concept here. Okay, clear everyone? Right. Online students, you can carry on your questions.
Welcome to Empty Music World. Bluetooth mode. Okay.
Right. Online students, you can carry on your questions.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
regarding this API testing, so you said that we are not for UI, no concept we are using for the this by this API. So how can we validate for the entire application, sir? Means any specific requirement, any specific data to be validated? As you mentioned in the script-wise username, name, and two variables you have passed. So apart from that, in any other cases, so any critical functionality, the validations, how can we take place through API?
That will depends on that particular URLs. So everything it will depends on that particular URLs only. So sometimes if required, the data will be passing the URL itself. That is what the example I given the concurrent user. So for this particular concurrent, I given that particular chaining concept. So when you work with that particular chaining in the URL itself, I have been passing the data. So either we can go with in this particular JSON format. So here we given the data in the JSON format. This is one approach. And
Yes.
another approach is it will be passing to the URL itself. Because while working API, everything it will be working based on the URLs only.
Okay.
Okay.
So headers part after that API key, from where we are taking this ID, sir?
This
API key.
API, you need to generate from the website. That is what I explained in the previous sessions. You
Yes.
need to refer this website. I will be taking with the request response.in. So here I will be taking with the option get your free API key. So you have
Okay.
to register with your Gmail ID and then you have to generate one particular API key.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Right. Yeah. Next.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Uh, why we are maintaining that keys in headers blocks? Sir? What is that concept?
Which one?
Headers block. For each request response program, we are maintaining this key in headers.
You are communicating to the server, right? This is one server which we are using for the practice purpose. Request response in. Now this server you have to communicate it. If you want to communicate it to the any server, by default servers will not allow you to communicate it. So you require a permission. So that permission only you are taking this API key here. So this API key, according to this API format, you are considering as a header because that is the top. First, it has to communicate this particular server. After that only, it will be able to perform that particular required actions here. Okay.
Okay. Without blocks, can't we directly use this one?
No,
Uh,
that is the syntax we have to follow while working that particular API.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. Next. All right, guys. No more other questions, right?
So
Oh,
one more doubt.
hmm.
Um, just previously that post request, sir. Can you please open that post request program, sir?
Hmm.
Data. This is the JSON format, whatever you said.
Yes. This is will be taking with the JSON format.
Uh, Come down, sir. Yeah, 13th line. Again, we are using this property. Why? Can't we use directly that data variable? 13th line, sir. 13th line.
Now here you initialized it. Once you initialize, we have to call that a variable, right?
Ah, yes.
That is only we are calling here.
Why do we mention that type before the variable
Because
date?
it has to be get understand that JSON format, right? So now we can see here, if I'm taking this is you can consider predefined. This is
Hmm.
USD. If I'm keeping the cursor, see here, it is expecting that name has been required, job has been required in the string format. In the same format, I have been passed the data in this particular variable.
Okay. While calling that JSON format variable, so we are mentioned like that.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's
Right. Yeah. All right, guys. Okay. Please look into the practice and take care about that particular TypeScript session also. Utilize the TypeScript session. And tomorrow there is no session, next session on Thursday. Please look into the practice, guys. Yeah. Thank you.